Right. Now we have the approval of the minutes. So I understand that the present instead of Attorney Metricarty is L. Wiggum. Is there any other updates to the minutes as presented before we'll take a motion to approve with that change? If not, we'll take a motion to approve the minutes with that change. All right, that was Mr. Wilson. Second by Mr. Lawrence, all in favor? All right, now we have our financial updates, the money man. Hey.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Let's go over my cover sheet here, starting with the and this is for the month of October 2025. Operating cash. We have our three bank accounts totaling $5,900,000.
I'm sorry, which page?
The first one, the cover sheet.
Okay,
Cover sheet is in your package.
there's a lot of stuff. I don't know
I
what,
know.
which one is our package? Okay. Do y'all see?
No, your agenda package.
Oh, in the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Flipping.
Okay.
Your copy of the table of the full report.
Yeah.
Okay, and can I see the full report?
There's full, that's the copy of the full report.
Okay, you pass me that
Yes.
full report, yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, we're with you now. You said agenda package, you should have said agenda pack. You said package, I'm like, okay, which package? No. No, okay, I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, no problem. All right, with the cover sheet, we're starting with operating cash. The three bank accounts we have for the URA, beginning budget totaling of $5,913,092. We had deposits of $1,531,814, and then we have some withdrawals and debits of $103,317. Our ending balance was $7,341,589. Operating revenue. We budgeted at $8,690,500. We had year-to-date revenue coming in was $2,839,173. Noticeably, your investment income that's steadily coming in at $740,160. The budget balance for the revenue coming in comes in at $5,851,327. Our operating expense, which was budgeted at $4,229,050. You had expenditures of $157,456. You have some encumbrance of $145,157. Leaves your budget balance at $3,927,026,438. Also in the packet, I've also included statements of your bank statements, all three of them.
That's, and the full bank statement is in the full packet that Ms. James has. As a reminder, we don't print. We do have these for you to look at, but we're not letting you take this home. Okay.
So if we could, I guess make sure everybody have a copy of it. I don't know how you all feel about seeing it, but I like to look at it. So we'll, even though we won't put it out.
Yeah,
We can definitely do that.
Along with the bank statements, I've also included your department payment report. That's usually I put that in there for you to show what monthly what came out of our encode our accounting system, which is called Encode. So I put that in there so you can see what's coming out on that and monthly. Also included the Georgia Fund 1 account, bank statements. We have one of the accounts, the beginning balance is 30,327,189. You had earnings reinvested in of 106,878, which gave you a new balance of $30,434,067. The next Georgia Fund 1 account budget your balance started at 17,716,162. You had earnings reinvested that came in at 62,434, which gave you a new balance of 17,778,597. And to end the report, I included the total packet of the revenue and expense report. That's what gives me the numbers for your operating revenue and your operating expense. And that concludes the financial update.
Okay, give us a moment to just kind of review.
Okay.
The expenses we had was the fees. Is that ACH settlement, is that the money towards the new account? I'm trying to see what this,
ACH settlement,
on the
one of the bank
the
statements.
checking URA checking.
Yeah, the ACH is basically your automatic electronic funds that's coming in.
Well, this is a withdrawal.
Yeah. And it also with your debits and credit, you can do ACH, you can do electronic funds transfer. That ACH settlement, those are payments going out.
I'm trying to see to who.
Yeah, I have to get that. I have to get back. I'll have to review that and get
Miss- Miss-
that back to you because
We'll confirm exactly, but I believe that 83,000 is the expenditure for the gun range.
yeah.
But we will confirm and get you that in the morning.
See, the problem with ACH, it's not like when you write the checks, it shows the check prints. With the ACH, it doesn't show what that is. So what I'll do next time is make sure that I make a note or get a copy of what that is so we can and put that in your packet so you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, that would be helpful because
Mhm.
we like to
And-
see exactly where everything is.
And
where it's going.
Director Dennis is correct. That's the gun range. Because the gun range, yeah, the URA is paying for it. So that's where that's coming from.
And then the 3,000, so just for future, we want to see kind of how it flows. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Just
see,
checks
like-
and balances, that's all. I'm sure it's
Yeah, we could do that. That's not a problem. Cause like the 177, the 1,777, that is, that's Torno and Spring. It used to be TSW, but is TSW still TSW? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just don't see it. That's TSW. So yeah, we definitely do that.
So,
So I could probably make the notes on what comes out monthly. You'll see it on that report. And I'll make sure, even if I have to grab the previous month, but sometimes it's a lag on what shows up on the bank accounts. Okay.
so question for you, when there is an ACH settlement, there is like a check that you all are doing to verify like the PO and all that stuff. Do you all,
It's not a check. Well, it's
I
a
mean,
file.
it's right, but how do you all double check this?
How we
Or-
double
or
check
are
the
we
file?
double checking it?
Yeah, it has to go through, it goes through like a positive pay and everything. So before the ACH goes through, our finance manager, she puts the file together, puts it in, and then it's checked off by a deputy.
Okay, so,
So it goes out.
so that, whatever that file is, whatever that check is, can that be included in our package? So we can just like look at the verification for this amount that it went to this. So we don't have to keep, you know what I'm saying, having the same, okay, what's this for, what's this for?
Yeah, let me take a look because I know the file is combined. It's not just URA.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of cash pool, URA, DDA, any other bank accounts we have. But I can get that separated though. We'll work on that.
All right.
That's not a big problem. That's not a problem at all.
Okay, so I still would like to see the, I think I saw it somewhere, the check stubs. Or here they are. Okay. Is this all for all of the accounts?
It's just one account that does the rights to checks like that.
Okay. So this should be,
It should be the last one, ending 5472.
so I see this one, but wait. This one is Falcon. Okay, Falcon. Data management. And this is Brightstone. There's another one. Here's the other one. Falcon. We had two to Falcon. Okay. So this return item fee, let's see, we got two of them. Is there a reason why we have a return item fee? Oh, I see I see it reversed. Okay, wait, you got return item fee for 36 on the 16th and then another one on the 17th. And then it was reversed on the 17th
Mm-hmm.
and then reversed, no, the overdraft fee refund, the 36. Okay. Why is that happening?
That's this right here.
It looks like it
This is a
was
new,
reversed,
this
but
is a new account.
okay.
This is the new account that when we closed the account and we open up, and they gave us a new, this is the new number
Gotcha.
for the account. So while that was happening,
Mhm.
you know, they had these transactions happening. So what they're
Gotcha.
doing here is correcting everything,
Gotcha. Makes sense.
moving over to this new one.
When we move to a new account. Mhm. Mhm. It makes sense. Okay. All right, perfect. think that's all the questions I have. Y'all got questions? Sorry, y'all. I like to look at the numbers. Y'all good? All right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right,
Appreciate you.
no problem.
All right, next item on the agenda is old business. We have project update on the Metcalf Road expansion. Economic development, is that?
You're good.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So with the Metcalf Road extension, the road is pretty much built. We had a erosion control inspector out there making sure that everything was in place. We have curbs, we have storm drains, and we have some asphalt down. Everything excluding the top layer. Currently, we're in discussions with the developer regarding some lighting along the road, street lighting to be installed, and we're coordinating with Georgia Power in efforts for a lighting plan and for installation.
Awesome.
That's all I have.
Everybody know who that is? So you gotta introduce yourself.
My name is Alton Matthews, and I am the Public Works Director. Thank you.
Doing a great job. Thank you, sir. All right, any questions? All right, next, old business is the TSW expansion, URA boundaries.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Gia Lee. I'm with TSW, a consulting firm, and we're working on the URA strategic plan, which does include the expansion of the project boundary. And I'm here to give you an update. We actually started this project in January this year. So we have come to, the stage where we put together, a draft report. I see every one of you have a copy of the draft report in front of you. And yes.
Each have another map that goes with TSW at the top. Thank you, Attorney Master.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like this. The
Okay.
cover looks like this.
Awesome. Got
Yeah.
it.
So if you want to refer to that or just look on the screen, I know it's far away. I can't see it, so I have a copy myself. Just want to give you I'll try to make it short. I know you guys have a long meeting and a long agenda. So here, the report, basically, it's a very brief report, and we have like 5 different sections. So the first one is basically introduction, talk about the overview, basically the purpose of the strategic plan and the process, how we have gone through this planning process. We basically started with the URA, and we have always keep discussion with the URA. We have come to like, in addition to this meeting, we have come to like 3 of your meetings to present the project at different stage. So I think most of you all probably remembers. And we have been using GIS data provided by the city and county. And we also have staff recommendations. And we also did like a field trip survey to look at the sites. And again, we also look at the county's like tax assessors information for some of the data that we need. So the first part of this strategic plan is to update the boundary. So you all know that the existing URA boundary is quite small. It's basically just covers the downtown area and Star Park along Forest Parkway. So we have overlaid like a GIS layer of blighted properties in the city. Basically, we mainly looking at the area along Forest Parkway and Jonesboro Road. And based on that, we worked with URA and expanded the study area URA boundary along Jonesboro Road all the way to the city's limit to the north. So on page 5, it shows the existing URA boundary, and it identifies some circles which are technically just the area we think potentially in the long term could become like activity centers. Those are like major downtown areas or major road intersection areas. So on page 6, next page is where you see, as a result, we have expanded the URA boundary to include all the commercial properties along Jonesboro Road and also extended the area along Forest Parkway. So that is the new URA boundary area. And within those boundary area, we were asked to look for potentially like 4 sites to consider future development potential. And we identify like 4 sites, 1 along Forest Parkway and 3 like commercial properties along Jonesboro Road. So the next section is the development opportunities we have identified. Basically, starting on page 8, we have a detailed information about the 4 sites we have identified. We presented those sites before, so I will not go through them in much detail, but you can see all the pros and cons and the overview of each site. So the first site is about like 6 acres, but there is an addition of potential 1.5 acre at the corner of Forest Parkway and Springdale Road. So that site is mostly owned by the city. And the second site on page 10, it's a Clayton Plaza. It's a 1 parcel. Currently is a commercial shopping center, about 11 acres. The next site is like the A to Z outlet. That site has a larger, like a shopping area in the back, which is in 1 parcel, and a couple of out parcels along Jonesboro Road. Some of the parcels are still vacant when we started, but as it goes, right now, we see like there is a storage facility under construction at the corner of Theater Drive and Jonesboro Road. So I think this site, although it has potential, it's probably not ready for redevelopment. But it's, as a record, we put it in the strategic plan, just indicating, well, in the future, that still can be considered. And the last site is a vacant parcel near, 2 vacant parcels near Conley Road. So those 2 are vacant, but they have significant like topography challenges. Again, currently it's privately owned. So among the 4 sites, and you all have chosen site A because that site is mostly owned by the city URA or another agency, I can't remember, but the ownership is easy to proceed. So with that, we have developed like some initial concept plans for site A. So as you can see on page 16 and 17, we have developed a couple of options. One option is looking at just the 5.95 acres, which including 3 parcels, 330 Forest Parkway, 371, and 385 Central Avenue. So one concept shows without the corner, so how can we do a mixed-use development? We kind of focus commercial and a little bit of mixed use on the south side, and envisioned mixed residential development on the north side. And then the other 2 concept plan on page 17, they do include the corner, but those 2 plans, the differences is just the first one on top is more of a horizontal mixed use, what we call as commercial and residential. They're completely in separate buildings. And the lower plan shows a more mixed use, vertical mixed use at the corner of Springdale Road and Forest Parkway. So both plans show mixed residential, but the option 3, we showed some cottage court, which is well received by the URA. And the city and the URA, the staff, I believe also the planning staff reviewed those plans and provided feedbacks for us to move forward. And the conclusion is to not including the corner parcel because it takes time to acquire and it will probably drag along the process. So we just take the 6 acres to move forward. But also within the first stage, we provided some inspiration images in terms of what different kind of uses can look like, their character. We have some commercial examples. Basically, they're all like small town, downtown type of commercial. And also some live work, vertical mixed use, residential above commercial uses, and different kind of residential from like sixplexes to like townhouses and cottage court. There are also some images for like parks and open space because we believe the public realm is very important in such a iconic, like a catalytic site development. So moving from there, on page 20, we have developed this final plan. The major comments we received is we URA, the city does want to see some cottage court incorporated into the plan. The initial sketch without the corner does not have a cottage court. So in this plan, we actually came up a pretty good mix of uses. Again, it will be commercial along Forest Parkway, and there will be a main street coming from the south. That street will be very pedestrian friendly with on-street parking on both sides. So if you feel like you're entering a activity center, and then to the north, it's like 3 different little pockets. From west to east, it's just some small multifamily buildings, which is like a 6 units multifamily building, and then 10 single-family homes in the cottage court setting with a really nice feeling park in the middle. And then to the east are like 20 townhome units. And we made sure the parking works, the ratio is enough to support both the multifamily and the mixed-use development. And on page 21, you can see that's some 3D renderings we have created for this area. So the top one is a more overall area view for the entire development. You can see the retail buildings on Forest Parkway, so they get the maximum frontage. And because that's where the traffic, the car flows, so people will pass by and they will notice this development. And when you come in, you have that mixed-use building, which anchors on one side. And on the other side, because of the size limitation, but it's still able to accommodate a potential like a restaurant with a nice roof deck so people can hang out. And then you see the residential development in the back with the parks. And the second one is a closer look at the main street when you come in, the mixed-use building and the restaurants on both sides of the streets. And then you have this nice pocket park in the middle of the cottage court, where is your end view. So that's where people can hang out. And the next page is just to show 2 ground street view of the cottage court, open space, what they can look like with the houses on both sides and the landscaping and the trees. Yeah. Well, next I'll move forward to like we talked about, okay, we have this nice plan now. So what are the potential development approach that we can make this plan happen? First thing is, although it's a small site, it can be developed at one time. It's only 6 acres. But if you do want to phase it and consider where to start, you can technically start from the small multifamily building at the corner of Springdale Road and Central Avenue, and build that little park and build the multifamily building, and then shift eastwards. With the cottage court, and then last to the townhouse development. Because I think the last parcel, 385, that's the smallest one, it's probably still privately owned. So while you develop this plan, while you do the construction from west to east, you can also give you time to acquire that additional parcel. So that's how you can approach with the residential development. And then normally with the development like, oh, yes.
Page 20, when you talk
Yes.
Back on page 20, when you talked about sharing parking spaces, does that mean that if the owner of the house gets there first, then the business people don't have a place to park and vice versa? Or is there over?
Well, the amount of parking we're providing, it's enough to give the residents dedicated space for them. And the other spaces will be just used for commercial. So they won't be, I mean, it can be dedicated. It's enough parking for both uses. So they won't be fighting unless you have an event or more people coming to this area. Yes. Yes. Yeah, but the idea is if you can just give dedicated parking for the residential, maybe with a marking, and the rest is free for, commercial visitor parking.
Correct. So I will say that we did run this through with our planning department. So it's checked all of the boxes in terms of our zoning requirements for the number of parking spaces that are required for residential, as well as the number of parking spaces that are required for commercial. So.
Yes, and just continue with the facing plan. We think normally it's good to have some rooftops before you build the retail. So we recommended the retail and the mixed-use building would be in the last phase to be built. But I mean, if the market really demands some commercial space in downtown Forest Park, this can definitely be the first phase, and it could, create some impact. Well, in addition to facing, we think placemaking is also very important. So we want to emphasize here, we have incorporated like 2 open space and parks in this area. One is at Cottage Court. The other one is at the corner of Springdale and Central Avenue. So that one will serve as a major like gateway when you travel into downtown from, Central Avenue. So those 2 parks will provide important, gathering space and will be signature spaces for the community. And also streetscape is important. So we're trying to create pedestrian-friendly streets, and we're creating the street that you are not so easy to cut through. So it's not like a straight shot from Forest Parkway to Central Avenue. You actually have to go in to go around if you, do want to cut through. But we're providing on-street parking. That's another measure which can slow traffic and keep pedestrians safe. So we have incorporated some potential street sections on page 25. So you can see the section A is a section with parking on both sides. And the middle one is if just parking on one side. That's mostly for the residential piece. And then we also incorporated a section for alley. And in addition to streetscape, other outdoor areas are also important. So that's where we have incorporated some outdoor dining and seating area in front of the mixed use and commercial buildings, especially the little like outdoor a little restaurant with a potential rooftop, garden. So you can imagine it with the picture on top of page 25. That's what it can look like. Well, last but not least, you can also consider public arts and signage in the open space and on streets. So the plan on page 26 just identifies the major public spaces and some potential, little spots on the map indicating where a potential signage can go for this area. And also landscaping is very important. Make sure, well, your ordinance already requires trees, landscaping. So, the parking area here will also be screened appropriately and looking nice. And the last step is, now we have this plan, and I know this is a draft. I do want to give you more time to review and provide comments. And but hopefully, once this report is finalized, I suppose the city would consider adoption of this strategic plan. So the URA boundary, the new boundary would become official. And also the vision for the 330 Forest Park site would be official. It doesn't say that developer has to exactly build each building like this, but this just provides the vision. This is how you want it to be. You might want the developer to stick at least 80 or 90% to the plan. And I think to encourage that, you all can issue an RFP. And some just the ideas we put down here, it may or may not be appropriate for working with development and to provide some incentive, for affordable housing or for them to follow the plan. Maybe you can consider land write down or a discounted land sale, something as a condition for them to follow the plan and provide affordable housing. And I'm not quite sure, I don't think currently that area is within a tax allocation districts, but if you all consider that, I know Fort Gilliam is one, but this area probably not. But we do have the TAT financing for infrastructure and streetscape, because those are what the streetscape can be built or help the developer to build the streetscape. Expedited permitting process, if you already have some like a developer in mind, if they come to you, you probably want to consider, or if they commit to build the development just like the plan, you might consider, expedite the permitting process for them. And other partnerships in terms of branding and public realm improvement, will all work. Hope I'm not taking too long, but this is just an overview of the strategic plan document. Do you all have any imminent comments or questions at this point?
Does this thing bend? This doesn't bend, does it? I don't want to break this. It's just this part that bends. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't let me break every house. Thank you so much for this information. The only question I have, I guess Attorney Matricardi, didn't we already approve this in our boundary? We haven't done a boundary,
I think you approved it. I mean, yeah.
the plan, right? So we have the boundary. So, and then the other question I have is the boundary. Oh, I thought we did that.
Mhm.
So is the grapevine included in the boundary or that's separate? So we already approved that, but we didn't approve. So nothing.
Change boundaries for Grapevine.
Oh, so grapevine is already in the boundary. Got it. Okay. All right. And then the ownership of the property. If I'm not mistaken, we own everything except for that little corner. Is that right?
But there is, so 385, I gotta confirm on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off my preliminary search, it looks like that one is privately owned.
Yeah, hold on. We
Yeah.
can't hear
No,
you.
that one is not concluded. No, it's just this, it's just this area, excluding these.
Oh, yeah. If you look on, I believe if you,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
yeah. Page 9 shows like 3 parcels. Yeah, page 9 is the site, shows the 3 parcels. I believe the little one is 385.
The one
Yeah.
on the far right is 385,
Yeah.
and that one is privately owned.
Right.
Yes.
And then the lot on the Central Avenue lot, I don't remember the exact address without looking at it.
314,
Is,
right?
thank you, is
314.
actually owned by the Development Authority.
Oh, that one.
I'll confirm that.
330.
I think it's the URA, because I at least know with 330, that one says the Development Authority on the tax records, but it's the URA.
Yeah, so I do know for certain that 330 is the URA.
Right.
Yes.
But we can confirm the Central Avenue lot, which by everything we've looked at says the Development Authority, but
Okay.
we have a known issue with the county GIS, so.
so I'm excited. Y'all excited? It looks good. It looks good. So, I want to thank the city for, looking at this. I know the site A was the site we said we want to try to go ahead and go with. Um, so I guess the next steps would be just to confirm ownership and then maybe go ahead and get it passed to, get the maps approved. Or do we have to do uh, agree to the plan before we get the maps approved? Or can we just get the maps approved and then?
You don't have to own all of the property before you approve the plan. So you can go ahead and proceed if you are good with the draft and don't want any changes to it. Then we can proceed with the adoption. And so there will be a public hearing on it before the city council.
Question I would have, will have to ask in executive session as part of that other thing. To see if that is something that we want to hold off on, or do we need to go ahead and approve the plan as it is? So we'll talk about that because that's another little issue there that we'll talk about that you all may not. Yeah, I think y'all know it, but we don't want to say it in public. So, but thank you for the
All right, thank
information.
you all. Mhm.
Thank you, Gio.
Yeah, let me know if you have any comments. I did notice.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, make sure we have our new member, Miss Melanie Carter. She replaced Yasmin Julio on that second page. You gotta give Miss Carter her due. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Lim. And Miss Lee, I'm sorry. And now we're gonna go to our geotechnical findings in Stevens Lake. Mr. Eminem, because I can never get his last name pronounced correctly. Monteleone. Monteleone. I should be able to. I think I just need to say it and not look at the spelling of it because that's what throws
I know,
me
that's
off.
what throws you. Well, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. And I'm happy to be back here again to give you a little bit more update. In this particular case, we're talking about specifically tonight, Stevens Lake Dam in the south parcel and that development update. And there's a few things that are underway that I need to bring to the board's attention. So if we can have the next slide, please. There we go. So just by way of background, I mean, some of you know me, and I think some of you might be new to me. I don't know. But my name is Mike Monteleone, Executive Vice President of Oasis Consulting Services. Been serving the URA in its form for almost about 14 years, believe it or not. I actually had to go back and do the math on that one. On a variety of Army and environmental matters, and we're pretty far down the trail. But the Gillum matters that we have today really involve the repair, or taking a look at the repair of the Marchman Lake Dam 14 years ago, which I was involved with. That's all done. That's just an example of something we're going to talk a little bit more about today. During that time, I was responsible for the CQA, construction management. Fred Bryant was the executive director at the time. And so that was a very interesting project, but that work for Marchman Lake Dam was completed, and it was breached, basically. That was a typical breach dam. So if you all recall, the last time we met was like in January, February, earlier in the year, and I think you all went out there and took a ride around to see Marchman Lake Dam. So that gives you an idea of what a breach dam looks like. And that's important because what I want to do is set the table for my talk about Stevens Lake. So with that as a little bit of background, let's discuss the Stevens Lake Dam and the findings that our team had. We've done a little bit more work on Stevens Lake since then. So if I have the next slide. Just as a quick reminder, the BRAC process, 1,400 acres, 257 retained by the Army Enclave. North parcel was transferred in August of 23, and the south parcel came as well. This has been one of the quickest BRAC transfers, successful, in like, I think, Army BRAC history. They even have told me that in Washington. So y'all have done a great job. They're thrilled with everything that y'all are doing, which is great. And been ongoing transfer really since 2009. It's hard to believe. I think I've been involved since the beginning. So next slide, please. This one was important. I don't have my pointer on me unless you have one up there, a laser pointer. But if you look at, a little easier. Okay, great. So for tonight, the subject's really this south parcel, as we call it, right? And we know that we've got Stevens Lake right in this area over here. Just as a note, you might be asking, this is the north parcel. It's the other one that's left. You all are working on redeveloping that one, and that's underway as well. But our focus for tonight is Stevens Lake and the dam that's affiliated with that. So if I can have the next slide. And the stakeholders. You know, of course, the URA, City of Forest Park, master developer, if that comes into play, and Oasis Consulting Services. The Army BRAC division, they're pretty much have been in the background. Things from the BRAC Army side are pretty well tied up here. But then we still have Georgia EPD, the regulators. We also have the Safe Dam Group too that we'll be working with here shortly, and of course legal counsel. And so we've been a hub for y'all for quite some time to facilitate the cleanup and the transfer, and I think it's gone quite well. Next slide, please. The tripart strategy is more of a reminder of environmental concerns. This is to educate and remind everybody. But we have environmental insurance that's placed out on the property. If you remember, you all bought that. As a note, in fact, it caught me by surprise, and I'm glad I made the note. The policy, your policy should be expiring about 30 June 2026. So looking for deciding if you want to look to renew an environmental policy for the site is something that over the next year we probably need to talk about at some point. Yes, sir.
Just real briefly, what are a couple of things that the environmental policy covered?
Environmental policy is really covering if you've got unknown environmental conditions that weren't called out originally. So like when you get the insurance, of course, they're going to take everything out that they can and say, well, we know about this, we know about, these are all known conditions, so that's all going to come out. But it's going to be more about if it turns out to be a more really a larger item that needs to be addressed. And it may be something that the Army, I can't get them to come back and cover. If it may not be an Army issue. So the environmental insurance just gives you that level of protection. Now, I don't know what the cost of the policy is, so you have to take a look at that and decide. You may decide that you don't want to go with it. Of course, having the environmental insurance does give prospective purchasers a little bit more comfort in that they have an opportunity to buy into that insurance, if you will, that you have insurance on the property. The one thing too to keep in mind is lead. Lead is excluded from all environmental policies. So remember last year we ran into some lead contaminated soils, tried to put that through the insurance folks for y'all, and they were like, yeah, no, we don't think so. So it is an exclusion. Most environmental insurance policies will exclude lead in soils from the get-go. Beyond that, though, it's good for things that might be more catastrophic. You run into some truly hazardous waste materials. And maybe the Army is just, they would be somebody to go back to, which we did last year, to say, hey, this is yours, not ours. But the policy then would still give you coverage, and maybe you can tap into the insurance to get the funding to be able to move quicker while the Army is doing what they need to do and then trying to fund it. So that's kind of the way the insurance policies worked. Yeah, does that work? And then on the Army still retains responsibility under Circular 120H covenant in the deed. You all know that. For known soil and groundwater that are directly attributable to the Army's activity out here. That's the key, because we have to go and we have to not only just find it, but then we have to show that it's actually theirs. Okay, so that's what that means. And then the last item, and I'm asking, this is one of the elements I'm asking to have some additional funding for in addition to just the annual budget. One final request to you all this year would be that We need to obtain one soil sample from the city, the old City of Forest Park firehouse. Just, I need to send somebody over there, grab a sample, take it, test it, and then be able to bring that into the brownfield program. That building, the old firehouse, is not covered under the brownfields because I don't have any data for it. And so Georgia EPD brownfield folks, every time I'm on the call with Stephanie, she's like, hey, did you ever get that sample over there at the firehouse? You know, it's not covered under the brownfields. I was at the GEC conference a month or two back. She reminded me yet again. So I'm reminding you all, I've got the budget for that. We have it in an existing contract. I think we can just do it. If you all authorize me, I can grab a sample. We can take that sample, write the report, and get that property into the Georgia brownfield like everything else and get that coverage.
Have to, vote on that, or can we just say go ahead and do it, because we've already budgeted for it?
Budgeted, then that's fine, but it sounded like it was outside of the typical budget.
No, it's under the budget. It's up to their, because they give me a allotted
Give you
amount.
permission to go in
And
there.
they have to give me permission. That's all I need. If you give me the permission to go in and take the sample and do the work, then that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I
mean,
need.
We have to vote on that. Just say.
Yeah, because it's part of our contract. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Okay, that's that.
Not there, we're gonna go tell police. to go.
Thank you. Again, land use control measures that are in the deeds. So on post land use control, no development and use of property for residential use. That's a reminder. I know you were talking about all that good stuff. I'm excited about what's going on here. But out here, there's no residential, okay? No residential. No extraction of groundwater for the purpose of anything other than remediation monitoring, meaning we have a bunch of wells. We have to take samples. The Army takes samples. We take samples. And other than that, there's no other use of groundwater allowed or permitted for anything. So you can't put a well in and say, I'm going to use that to water my garden on the Gillum property. That's just not permitted, period. Also, the Army is actively engaged in groundwater monitoring, and they're putting in more wells because they're continuing their evaluation of the groundwater contamination. So they have more wells that go in that south parcel. I don't know about the north parcel. They haven't told me anything about that yet. There's been a ton of wells gone in there, so they might be fine with that. But the south parcel, they still have some more to do. Municipal water supply is required. Y'all have already met that and checked that box. You've got your own municipal water supply to that area through Clayton County. So that's done. Off-use land use control, off-post land use controls, groundwater monitoring responsibility of the Army. We already verified the municipal water through you all. You've already worked that out with Clayton County. Periodic well samples, responsibility Army. Public outreach, also responsibility Army. So let's talk about Stevens Lake Dam. So if I take my little pointer here we go. There it is. So you'll see right here, this red ring, that's Stevens Lake Dam. These buildings are actually the old historic buildings from the Army. All right, these are the original building locations. I just so happen to have it on the USGS map. But just to give you perspective, this is like 600 and 650 now, where Robinson Weeks buildings are at. This is the lake. Joy Lake is down here. This obviously cascades and feeds into that. So just hold that thought that this is kind of a bowl, and Stevens Lake acts as a repository for stormwater before it goes over to Joy Lake. If that makes sense. Yeah, next slide, please. Oh, and there are two dams. There's a West Lake Dam and an East Lake Dam up here on the north side, as it could potentially impact, or you want to look at it at some point if you're doing work up there. So there are two dams up there. This gives you the buildings that we had a snapshot for. 600 and 650 are kind of already encroaching over here, but this gives you just an idea. All these blue areas are water detention areas that are there to support stormwater runoff from the existing buildings that you already have built at the property. So that's what this figure really is showing. And it shows in that regard, it shows where Stevens Lake Dam is. You know, this Stevens Lake is in relation to everything else, which is on the southern side of the property. So next slide, please. Yeah, and then this is the floodplain map too. So this is important to know that these streams that you have, these kind of give you the idea of where the floodplain, if it were to flood, is going to kind of flood into those areas. You could see this down here with Stevens Lake, and this feeds in obviously down to Joy Lake. So that just kind of gives you an idea where floodplains exist. So those areas obviously are areas that you also want to understand, and you don't want to build in those areas either where there's floodplains. Next slide, please. So the South Parcel Stevens Lake Dam. So we've done a pretty extensive report. We've turned that report in to you all. The results of that report, I'm just going to kind of read the studies. We did a geotechnical report. We did a bunch of drilling of the Stevens Lake Dam. You all approved that. We had a contract for that, and that work has been completed. Let me just read the study conclusions, and then you'll kind of get it. Our general assessment came out that our study concludes that with the high groundwater level in the dam and lack of confirmation of a keyway or cutoff, meaning the dam, it doesn't have a traditional cutoff. Usually with a dam, you think of as a big berm, right? And then underneath, they usually have a keyway in the center part. What that does is it forces the groundwater flow to go deeper instead of undermining the dam. So that keyway is there, right? That's what the keyway is for. So our study concluded that at the dam, there's just a lack of confirmation that a keyway even exists. So it might be that that dam is just a triangular dam, flat with the ground with no keyway underneath, which means water can go right in and right out and undermine that dam very easily. That's very poor practice. Unfortunately, that was the Army when they built it. They built it the way they wanted to build it. This was probably decades ago. But right now, what we've seen from the drilling is the overall structural stability of the dam and the embankment is marginal at best and should be remediated. So that's unfortunately the bad news. The remediation is going to require effectively a breaching of the Stevens Lake Dam, which basically is just like we did with Marchman, which is to basically come and cut. If you think of the dam face, you're looking at the dam in front of you. We're going to have to cut that whole chunk out, all right, and then redo that section and rechannel line it. So basically, it'll look like a large swale with armament and revetments. If you go over to Marchman, you'll have a good idea of what that's going to look like and what we did over there. This way, the dam will self-regulate. They'll design it so that the pool that it holds up will meet what's needed in terms of outflow coming out and water coming in. That's part of the design. It's still that would need to happen as a part of this work. But fundamentally, what's going to happen is that dam's going to it's going to fill up with water and it's going to reach a certain height and it's just going to spill over, which is fine. But it'll be controlled. It's going to be controlled. All right. That's why breaching the dam is important. If we don't do that, we already knew the last time I was here, the dam's leaking. All right. The emergency spillway that's there is leaking. The drilling now tells us that the soils are terrible inside the dam. Poorly compacted, terrible, crappy material. I hate to say that, but that's what it is. And I'm a geotechnical engineer, so I'm going to use all my technical terms. It's crappy material. It's not going to hold up. Eventually, it's going to erode out, and it's going to fail. Okay, when? Not sure, but it will. All right, so that was the conclusion that we had. But that procedure of breaching, as I said, we did this back in 2014 when Fred Bryant was the executive director. And Fred said, yeah, let's do that with Marchman because the same thing was going to happen. It was doing the same thing. It was leaking. It was going to fail. We had the same assessment and we decided to breach it. So if you want to see what it's going to look like, go over to Marchman's Lake Dam and take a look at the way that was breached. You can see it. And that'll give you some idea of what we're talking about here. So it's just taking that old material out and kind of putting in a swale, a crested swale. So the water it regulates itself as it comes in. It gets up so high, it goes out. And then the hydrology dictates the level of water in the pond at any given time. So all those calculations and evaluations would have to be done too as a part of this. So,
What that would cost?
good question. So, you were right ahead of me on that. So yes, give me 1 minute here. We had some. Oh, thank you. I knew I had it up on the slide, didn't I? There we go. So, yes, here we go. Thank you. So we developed a budget for the sediment sampling work alone in Marchman, about $6,000 to get that work done, which I think I can probably slip in under the existing contract if given approval to do the sampling from you folks. That requires taking a boat out onto that lake, putting a sampler down, grabbing the sediments from the soil, and getting it tested for environmental to see what's in it, because we don't know. There could be impacts from the Army from when they were there and using and got, we don't know, but we have to test it and find out. So the budget would be sediment sampling. And then if the URA, moves ahead and wants to look further into the dam breach, we can prepare a proposal for engineering and permitting that would be required for that work. Yeah, and we would be responsible for all the documents, the design, the permitting. We'd work with y'all in terms of that, in terms of the breach going forward. And then Walden, who does a lot of dam work, Walden Ashworth, they're one of the biggest premier. They're Georgia Safe Dam certified and so forth. They've been working on this project from really the beginning, is when this came up over a year ago. And from the folks at Walden, I said, give me an estimate. Just, what are we talking about? So their estimate was about $750,000 to breach that dam and get it into a position where it could be stable and self-sufficient. Now, that's just our back of the envelope based on their experience with similar types of dams. So it's either that or, probably the dam's going to breach itself, meaning it'll fail. And I can't tell you when. Could happen tomorrow, could happen in a couple of months, could it be a year? I don't know, but the soils it's already failing right now. It's already got a leak and failing. So that's our advice, is to consider doing that. And I think in terms of the sediment, it was only $6,000 to sample that. And then I had also asked for the consideration of that Forest Park, the fire station, to get that into the CSR program, the brownfield program. That needed a report, and a sample was about $13,000 to get that included. That's the only parcel that's not in the brownfield program officially out of the entire Gillum, the only parcel, the fire station. So there's budget to take care of that too, from what I can understand. And if we're approved for 2026, we would certainly have the budget for that. Yeah, as far as the budgets to come up with the designs and the plans to breach, if you decide to go that way, if you want to look at that further, we can come up with what the cost would be to do the engineering and the permitting and all the plans that are need to be put together to breach Marchman Lake Dam. Sir.
If and when the dam breaks, what's it going to wash away?
So from there, you've got residential on the one side, which it may not really impact a whole lot. It's really going to come in on the facing side. It really comes into the site itself. So the question's going to be, what other potential contaminants are in those materials that are on the Gillum side of that. You know what I'm saying? There could be contamination, we just don't know, but it's going to spread that all around. It's going to flood out that area. It potentially could, flood the roads in a way where it could impact the backyards of the residential folks. Maybe, but it would make a pretty big mess.
So the sampling is, my question is about the sampling. If the sampling is done and contaminants are found, how does that affect us either doing the work or not doing the work?
Yeah. Well, that's why I think getting the samples kind of key, because when we get the samples, we find out we've got contaminated material there, then, you could consider, well, what do we do next at that point? Because if you draw it down, then the sediments will be exposed at that point. And I don't know the answer until I get the data. And that's why we thought it was important to get the sampling done ahead of time, before you say, yeah, let's go ahead and breach it, and then we breach it, and then we take the sediment sample, and we find out we have some other problems that we didn't expect. So I can't guarantee that without samples right now.
So I have a couple of questions. So first, I thought we approved already the settlement samples.
Yeah.
Last time we.
Yeah,
we
you
were-
did, and I can go ahead and I'm just bringing that up again to say, I just letting you know I want to do it. And I want you to understand the technical background to it, just to make sure that we're all good to go out there and take those samples.
So wait, let me make sure I understand. So we approved you to go ahead and do it, but it hasn't been done yet?
No,
Why is that?
no, we have not had a chance to get that done yet.
Okay.
No.
So that $6,000 you're talking about, we already have that as part of the budget. It's
That's in the
there.
budget,
Okay.
correct.
All right, so.
Correct.
My.
Yeah, I just want to have this conversation first because this came up since the last meeting and we haven't had a chance to talk between then. But I just wanted to just make sure it's okay because I know that the clients that I work with, when you do this type of work, I know they can be very sensitive about taking sediment samples in lakes. And I just want to make you sure that,
We're not that.
okay,
So I guess, for a lack of a better word, my frustration would be, we already approved this to be done, and it hasn't been done.
Mhm.
So now we're waiting on getting it done, and then going back to determine the breach process. So let me back up. We have not had an opportunity to visit Marshman Lake
Okay.
because when we were going to, well, I know when I was trying to go see Marshman Lake,
Yeah.
I was trying to coordinate with Mr. Freeman, who
Mhm.
owns that part, to get there, and he said he had to clear a bunch of stuff in order for us to get. And to be honest with you, I haven't followed through
Okay.
to try to go back to
Sure.
see that. But let me ask you,
Mhm.
Marshman Lake was breached also, right?
Yes,
So who paid for the breaching of Marshman Lake?
the URA at the time.
Okay, all right. So was that around the same cost?
It was
you
about
know?
that cost, yeah.
About that cost,
Mhm.
okay.
Yep.
All right. And so do you think the erosion or the possibility of the failure is due to all the construction that happened around that lake where the water doesn't have anywhere to kind of go now? What I'm trying to say is a kind of cute way of saying, can we get some help paying for it? Paying for the whole process of breaching the dam,
Mm.
with the construction that has happened, because really everything was kind of bought around
Uh,
Stevens Lake,
Right.
and we were just left with this little thing that we couldn't do anything really with.
Correct.
So I'm like,
Hmm.
I wasn't on the URA at the time
Right.
when everything was kind of bought here.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying that maybe we can get a little help. So first of all, I would say we need to go ahead and get the settlement settled,
Okay.
those things done.
Yep.
The fire station, all of that,
Okay.
get that done.
Good.
Because you got our approval, go
Okay.
for it.
Got it.
Whatever you need to do to get it done,
Got
get
it.
that done. So that
10-4.
we'll know exactly what we're working with.
Yep.
But then the other thing is, I guess between us, we could try to get with Mr. Freeman to try to get on that site to see the dam, that
Yes.
Marshman Lake Dam.
Yes.
And then the whole process of actually doing the breach, maybe see if we can get some help with possibly getting that work done with the construction that has happened around there.
Mhm. Yeah, it's possible. And we'd certainly be with the team that we have, we'd be able to, we would be able to do the design and the permitting and all the rest of it for the dam breach itself. So we have that capabilities with ourselves and our partners. Several of the folks in our group are geotechnical engineers as well, like myself, but they have a lot of dam experience as well. So if it comes to that part we could take care of as well within house and with the help of Walden if we need it. Yeah. So we have the resources to do that design and permit.
Can we get an approximation on a date when the sampling can get done?
sampling get done as soon as,
Theoretically, I mean,
yeah, I'd say within a couple of weeks or
okay,
less.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I didn't want to just go out and do it without having this conversation, because I know environmentally, every time we take samples, it's like once I take a sample and I test it, it's like there's knowledge. We have a lawyer here. She's nodding her head. And that's why I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that if I sample it and test it, I don't know what I'm going to find in it. And then and you know, if we're going to breach it and take it down, we kind of need to know what we're leaving behind, because someone's going to ask the question. So that's why, to attorney's point, and she knows where I'm going with this, I want to before I do that, that's why when you said you hadn't grabbed the sample, this is why I hadn't grabbed the sample, because I don't want to run out and just do it, get the results back, and then what if the results are just not great? They come back great.
Really, there's nothing we can do about it either way.
Sure.
So it's just kicking the can down the road.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And if attorney's okay with that, I'm okay with it.
So you say if it flood, there are some residents there.
Yeah.
Do we have flood insurance?
So that's an act of So that's an act of God. They would need their own flood insurance. It would be if there is some sort of issue and it can be attributed to the dam, there could be, they could try to sue, but it depends on all the circumstances surrounding it. Yeah.
And the other, while we have the attorney, can I ask another question to somebody? Counsel? So in breaching the dam and taking it down, right? One of the concerns I know that was raised long ago might have been somebody on this team, was those those water levels are going to be controlled, right? But there's going to be a certain amount of, it's going to be at a certain level, and it might be lower than what they currently see, right? In terms of being able to make the hydraulics of the dam work correctly, right? So let's say that the water surface has to be a little bit lower. Maybe it's 3-4 feet lower, something like that. The people whose properties do back up, which they do on the one side, they probably view that lake, it's a stormwater pond, but that lake as an amenity. Now, if we do that and bring that down a bit so that we're not flooded and that our weir system can work properly and meet all the stormwater requirements that we have to meet, is there a potential that those folks could be not real happy?
So, well, there's always a potential that.
And what does
people are
that
gonna be
mean?
happy, but there wouldn't be any
Legally?
recourse for
Okay.
them. Because it's, even though they might think of it as an amenity, it's not, and it's not owned by them.
That's true.
So there wouldn't be any problem.
Okay, good, good, good. So then the other thing is then when we grab the sample and we get the data, what I would suggest is I'd like to, if council would allow, can I put that through y'all for like attorney-client privilege type of thing? Okay. I just don't want that information going out. That's why we're having this conversation tonight. Thank you, council.
So is that something that's typical?
Yes,
I mean, oh, okay,
I do this a lot.
okay.
Yes. And I mean, I'll show you all and council, but I don't want it going anywhere outside of here.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Comments?
It's okay. So sediment sampling, we'll get that done. We can go ahead and get the Forest Park parcel into the program. There should be budget for that. And then just for the new contract approval for next year, there might be a little odds and ends. I think you folks know, I've been very judicious with your money over the time. We get a lot of service to you out of the budget. So that's why I was just asking for the same budget for next year, because things come up. And if nothing gets used and you don't use me, then it's fine. the budget's done. It turns over. It's not like I use it. It's only there in case we need to do something. So I would respectfully ask that the budget be considered being renewed, if you will, for.
When does it end?
It ends the end of this year, so it would have.
December 30th?
Yeah, December 31st. So it wouldn't start till, I wouldn't need to, okay, until, sometime after January.
So if you could send over what the budget was, I don't know.
Yeah, I've got it. I can send that to you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get that sample done for us.
Yes, ma'am. That'll be first. I'm glad we got this approved and done, but you understand why I had to hold back on this. I wanted the young lady at council here to make sure that once you take a sample and I have data, I have knowledge. And now I'm a professional engineer and I'm too old to start going to jail, and my wife wouldn't be happy.
Well, we don't want you to go to jail. And we don't want to go to jail
I know.
either. So, but it's still something we can't control until we know.
Understood. Yeah, correct. I think that's pretty much. Oh, and the Army is continuing groundwater work at the property, by the way. You may know that. Their focus is on PFOA, PFOS in groundwater, which I know they have found. Also, just as a note too, is that I'd run into folks, they're colleagues of ours, the Terracon folks. I know they're doing work on the North Landfill area. And we have a business relationship with them too. We're good friends. If there's any way, I told them if there's any way we can help them in what they're doing, we're happy to help and assist. If there's knowledge I have that can help Terracon, which helps you all, feel free. I'm all about it. It's about getting the job done.
Wasn't there something, some questions or something on the north side about Army or something? I don't know. Is everything good with the north side? Okay.
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 Okay. Yeah. That's it. Unless there are any other questions. Again, I just want to read one other last statement from the report that we had on the study, just to put a fine line on it. This is the study on the geotechnical for the dam, and it reads from the dam engineer. Our study concludes that the high sporadic surface, in other words, the high water level in the dam and lack of confirmation of a keyway or cutoff, and the present seepage through the dam and embankment, coupled with weak soils, the overall structural stability of the dam and the embankment is marginal and should be remediated. Remediation will require significant undercutting, i.e. breach of the dam and the embankment to provide seepage control and suitable foundation. So that's the last, I just want to put that last thought in your all's head. So that's information that I also got from the Walden Ashworth people, and they do a lot of dam work in Georgia, and they've been our consultant on our team. So that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
As usual. Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
All right, we have project update on Park at Gillum, Economic Development Department.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I wanted to give a couple of quick updates on the new property management and how things are going at the park at Fort Gillum. So first, you have before you this, which is the draft. I'm going to re-emphasize probably about 5 times and say draft operating budget from them. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, and I'm sorry it's still small, or at least it is for me, but this was as big as we could get it. Couple of things. So we are finalizing the new operational or operating bank account. We have made the decision to open the operating account for the park at Fort Gillum at Renaissance Bank, which is our local bank right here on Main Street. I believe all of the final signatures have been done and everyone has signed their life away to get this account set up. As a reminder, the URA will fund it with an initial $150,000. The goal being to seed at least the first 3 months of operating expenses. But hopefully that final piece will be done very, very soon. We did the TI Asset Management, which is the new property management team, officially assumed their role 2 weeks ago. They have now collected $47,000. So that is roughly their rent roll each month and what we should be expecting in rent collection every month. All of the payments that have been collected have been applied to resident accounts. There was a little bit of hiccup, as you can imagine, on the first couple of days of transitioning people and just helping people understand how to use the portal to be able to log in to make their payments. However, in addition to the portal, people have the ability, they can pay by money order, et cetera, et cetera. So they've got a couple of different ways that people can make their rent payments. And understanding that there was a little bit of concern that some people made their payment late, but again, no one has been charged late fees or will be charged late fees during this initial period as we kind of help people work through the process and their understanding of the process of how to pay their monthly rent. We anticipate that all of the onboarding will be finalized by the end of November, early December. I am also happy to announce that Brittany, or Ms. Dominique Clotter, is the on-site property manager that was shared with us this afternoon. She previously worked for the previous property management team, and they have brought her on. She is our primary contact for all of the day-to-day issues with the property. So we're very excited to Brittany Dominique Clotter, Clotter. And I will make sure to share her contact information with you as well. And starting, I think next week, we have bi-weekly calls with our office and the management company. She will be starting to join those calls as well and will primarily be our point of contact for everything out at the park at Gillum. We have there in December, there is an owner portfolio that they are setting up for us. We should hopefully have access to it by sometime early December. It's called Appfolio, but allows us as the owners of the property to log into the portal at any time, not the portal that people are using to pay their rent. This is just for owners to see what the maintenance looks like, to pull a variety of reports. So we're excited to work through them on that process, and hopefully we'll have that set up very soon, as well as a training so that we know exactly how to use it. Couple of other quick things. We are working with our risk analysts in our HR department on the general liability property insurance, because one of the things that needs to happen, in addition to having property insurance on the entire complex, we also need to add the property management team to the insurance policy. So working through that with Miss Beverly, who is the city's risk analyst. And so we're very excited, and hopefully that we can get that done pretty soon. She and I kind of went back earlier today with some additional detail that she needed just about the property as a whole, as well as the property management company. So hopefully very soon we can shore up all of the issues with the property management. And I think the only other thing we've kind of spent a good bit of time working through utility transfer and pest control, et cetera, and really going through a full audit of all of the vendors and making sure that all of that is transferred over appropriately to TI Asset Management. I think, Ms. Clay, did we get the Georgia Power? Yeah. So the last piece that still needs to be updated, if you will, is Georgia Power, but I think we're pretty close to finally getting that done. And as you can imagine, there have just been lots and lots and lots of hoops to go through and some cleanup that's needed to happen. But I do need to bring to your attention, and I do have a request. This afternoon, literally right before we walked into this meeting, we got an email from our property managers that there is an exterior leak has been identified. It's a plumbing repair that needs to happen pretty immediately. And the estimate that they've received, and I can forward that to you as well, is $7,200. And so I'm asking for your permission for us to move forward with giving them the authority to move forward with those critical repairs.
Has it been ascertained that is belong to the URA or the city or?
No, it's
okay.
ours. It's us.
I rubbed off on it.
Yep, I know, right? He's good. You trained him well, but no, unfortunately, this is us. So the budget that I'm sorry, did you have any other questions? Yep, okay. So can we move forward with the repair?
Yes.
All in favor? Yes? Okay, perfect. Thank you. The other thing that you have before you is the draft budget. I'm not asking, there's not a vote or anything on this evening, but I do want you to take the time to read through it as we work through the final wave of vendors and expenses, et cetera, et cetera. This will change some, but it is a pretty comprehensive budget that they have put together of everything that we can possibly expect. Couple of vendors, I know that they are looking at pest control. There is a vendor that the previous property management team had been using. We have asked them to consider using at least get a competitive bid from the pest control company that the city uses. And again, just kind of trying to streamline some of our processes as well as taking advantage of some of that loyalty discount as well. So waiting on some of those final numbers.
And also, can you share what they're gonna be doing as far as, assessing the
Yes,
buildings?
yes. So now that at least a little bit of the initial shock of them coming in and meeting and getting everybody up and rolling, as of today, they have started doing the physical assessment of the entire property. And so we're really looking at this in a phased approach. They're doing the initial phase and identifying the most critical things that have to happen, i.e. the $7,200 water leak, and will deliver to us a full audit and report of their findings, as well as projected budget and expenses in priority of the most critical repairs. Once we get through that phase, we will look at potentially doing an RFP, because understanding that there needs probably a bigger scale as we look at the actual redevelopment of the site as well.
And then one other thing that I was impressed by was they were bringing somebody in. I can't remember. They're bringing some company in to do something with assessing the whole building. You can't
Yes,
remember.
so they do,
Is it Miss Clay? You can't
they
remember.
were doing a
It's
site
somebody.
of the,
But
exactly.
it's another company that he said,
Well, they're doing put it this way, they are leading the efforts, but it's not TI asset that's going around and doing the assessment.
so
There-
there's a deep dive.
there's a
I
deep
guess
dive.
that's what.
So it's
what I'm
kind of
trying
look
to-
at it kind of in three phases. There's kind of the immediate kind of windshield
Mhm.
approach, if you will, of kind of what's immediately on fire that needs to be addressed. The deeper dive, which is this company, and I'll get you the exact name of who they are engaging with to do that. And then the third piece will be a much, much deeper, kind of digging in the ground to look at pipes and infrastructure. So,
She
mhm.
said, "Get your pocketbooks ready." Thank you. Okay, is there anything else?
Nope, that's it for the
Oh,
park at
that's
Fort
it.
Gillum. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So, any other comments or questions about that? That's exciting too, y'all. We got some good stuff. Yeah, lots of cool stuff happened. I'm so excited. Okay, so we have new business and we're almost done. We have the review and approval of the Gillum 500 easement.
Your packet, on the Baker Street, the very last page of your agenda packet.
Okay.
We got a lot of paper.
Oh. Attorney Magic card?
Okay, so there is an existing easement on this property. So this is the 500 building. It is somewhat close to the dam that we were just talking about. And so let me get the specific ask. They're asking for an amendment. And the reason why they're asking for this amendment has to do with some environmental issues, not necessarily issues, but existing streams and setbacks. So 1 second. So the reason why they need this, they recently received a stream buffer variance, but also they have to move it because of the location of an existing pipe. So you can see on this, I had them prepare where it is a little faint where the existing easement is. So the existing easement is where I'd marked that line. So it's very, very faint. So, okay. And so they want to move it to the east. It's pretty much the same acreage as it was before. And this area, it is owned by the URA. It's a part of the larger parcel with Stevens Dam, but it's not buildable due to all of the floodplain. And this is just a very small little area. So they're asking for an amendment to the existing easement agreement, and it's so they can get access to their parcel. They is Robinson, well, so I was Robinson Weeks. And I'm not sure what tenant they have in building 500, but yes, it is Robinson Weeks. And France. And so Frances Jackson is the one who reached out about this. She works for Robinson Weeks, but she also serves as the president of the Property Owners Association out in Gillum. So.
Any comments? We had a hard time getting our easement. No, let me stop. Okay, I will leave that alone. Is there a motion that we approve this 500 easement, Gillum 500 easement? Okay, that was Mr. Wilson. Second by Mr. Lawrence. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? All right, that was unanimous. Okay, next is this discussion on the 2025 Splash Bonds series.
Yes. Yes.
Not everyone has.
I don't have any. No, wish you.
Is Mr. Ed gonna speak?
I know he had a event in Charlotte, and so I don't think he was anticipating it being this late, yeah. So I can go through it.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Okay, so wanted to bring this to y'all because it's gonna be coming back within probably before the next meeting. We might need to have a special called meeting for the URA. So if you go through, so this, I think everyone's familiar with the city center plans. Is everyone? Oh, okay. So the city center is going to combine, it's going to be a huge city complex. It's going to combine the majority of the departments under one roof. And where we're sitting now, this is going to be the fire department, city hall and the police department will be combined, as well as parks and recreation. So there's going to be an indoor pool, a track, like a brand new rec center, senior center. And so we can, yeah, there's renderings, and I think the economic development team can circulate them to the group. And so in order to fund that, this area is within the URA plan. I actually just going through the property records today. saw that the URA actually owns this building that we're in. Yes, yes. And so one of the things of the URA plan, the existing one, was to create this city center. And so in order to do so, we need to issue bonds, and municipal bonds is a method of public financing. And so this includes the financials and the revenue bonds report. So if you go to the proposed plan of finance, so there's existing bonds out there. Yes, right there. So there's an existing bond issuance in 2021 that they're proposing to refinance as a part of this issuance. And so there would be two different bond series, Series A and Series B. And so you have the proposed interest rates, which hopefully we could get a little bit lower, but we obviously don't have a control of that. We'll shop it around to get the best rate that we can. And so if you look, the majority, so 2023A would reach its maturity date in 2035, and then 2023B would reach its date in 2038. And so this would be sufficient. So it's going to be multiple funding sources in order to build the city center. It's about 100 million. And so this would be 46, in total 46 million. And so that is what is being proposed by the financial advisor. And the bonds would be backed by the city. So they would be backed in part by SPLOST funds. So once we get taxes in from the SPLOST funds, as well as the general fund for the city. So the goal is to actually close on these bonds this year. So then construction and everything can commence in 2026. So if there is another date in, well, I don't know, or like early December / end of November that we could meet to review all of the bond documents and approve, we would approve an intergovernmental agreement. So the intergovernmental agreement would be with the city in order to have the city, essentially they'd be approving of the bonds. They would be backing the bonds saying, yes, you can, our full faith and credit of the city is behind this issuance. And so we would approve the bond resolution, we would approve the intergovernmental agreement, and then I would take that to the Superior Court and have a bond validation proceeding. And so in Georgia, you have to validate your bonds. And I'd go in, do the hearing in front of the judge, get the bonds validated, and then upon getting that validation order, then that's when we could close on the bonds. And so the financial advisor will be the one shopping the bonds around, so you get the best rate. He already, as you can see, prepared like the term sheets and is going to be reaching out, so then we could just quickly move on this as soon as we get the best deal. So that's a lawyer's update on a financial analyst report, but if you have any questions, I can answer them to the best of my ability. Yes, yeah. So I mean, this has been in the works for a long time, and so it's just the issuance is just come up and it's ripe, ready to move.
Yeah,
So
and one thing I would say is, Ed didn't want us to make a decision until we officially got the splash to pass. And of course, you all know we got the splash to pass, so that's gonna bring in, oh my gosh, what was it? I got it written down. So it's on my other phone. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for the county. And yes, and so for us, we get the largest portion. So, on the splash document, it said the amount, I think it was 217 million was the estimated over the course of 6 years, it would bring in. And then there was some specific things that we as a community agreed that we would do as a county, which is like the jail and the things that the whole county would use. And then each municipality had to put in what they wanted to use with the money. And so I feel like I got something in my teeth. So for the city of Forest Park, we made ours kind of general, and it includes buildings, roadways, sidewalks, just a general thing. If we come to a need in those areas, we can use the funds for. So a large part of that is facility upgrades. And so, yeah, Ed didn't want to bring this until it officially passed. So it did officially pass.
Mhm.
So now we're.
So this is the first meeting that we could have brought it to you.
Yeah.
And if you want to look at page 9 of the report, and if you could flip it. So this has the funding sources. And you can see, so the total bond issuance, my first, where I was talking about the 40 million, that's going to be when it comes to the debt service, which is the interest and payments. But so when we are issuing the bonds, we would issue them in that 74 million. And then 29 million would be coming from the 2021 bond. There would be 11.5 of existing splost. There is 850,000 in the tax allocation district availability, and then for police. So this is restricted for the police department, the construction and build out. And so you can see the total, in addition to the bond issuance, would be 117 million. It is not connected to Grapevine. So that Grapevine is a whole separate project and initiative. Grapevine isn't bonds. No.
We've already used the splash stuff to do the outside stuff for the Grapevine. So now we're I guess that's on our agenda later on. So yeah, but yeah, nope, we're gonna have to. We got some money, y'all. And I like what Miss Carter said. We got to invest on this side. Okay. All right. So do we need to? Well, it's almost done. I think we've been holding money. Yeah, we've been holding it, and good thing we got some good interest now that we can draw on that money that we've been holding. At first, it was just sitting there holding, getting nothing. But thanks to the newly reelected, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, to God be the glory. Okay. All right, so what do we need to do? We need to approve this, right? No, we need to.
But it would be good if we could set a date towards the end of this month. You know, it's Thanksgiving.
To review the documents and stuff? Okay.
First week of December. Because the city council will be considering the intergovernmental agreement on December 1st. And so if we could meet at some time that week.
So we have to do it before they meet, or?
No, we can do it after.
Okay.
Or if everyone's available that Monday, at 5:30. So there'd be like the third.
Okay.
Is that, okay, we be before, are you available?
What is anybody available on the first at 5:30? would you be okay if we go ahead and vote with, so if everybody's available, we can just do December 1st at 5:30. Just that's be before the council meeting. Really short, 2 minute. Yeah, I mean, it's a quick, it's just, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll send out the calendar invite in the morning.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Grapevine, that's all you had, Attorney? Okay. Grapevine presentation and discussion. Yay.
All right.
Oh, wait, I want to say, hey, y'all know this is our interim chief city manager.
City
Look,
manager.
Natasha Kimmons, she's actually the chief of fire, but hey, I love her. Y'all met her already. Okay, sorry, chief. Yeah, we were at the firehouse the last time. Oh, Dr. Patrick, okay. So, yeah. Okay, y'all see me taking my coat on and putting it on, taking it on and off. Okay, sorry.
You're fine.
Yes, ma'am.
All
we're
right, so the
ready.
Forest Park Grapevine, so congratulations, you are the proud owners of 833 Forest Parkway, also known as the Grapevine, which is our culinary incubator and food court. Next slide. So a couple just to bring you up to speed, here are the exterior renderings. As Ms. James said, we have already used SPOS dollars to do the exterior. The entire exterior of the building has been repainted. We have also restriped or did some pressure washing and some restriping of the parking lot, as well as some of the exterior signage. And then also address some issues on the roof. Next slide. So what we're here to talk about this evening is inside the building. So what we are looking to do is to deliver what we call a white box. So it's basically to do all of the interior work. As you can imagine, it's beautiful on the outside and you go inside and it literally looks like it used to be a Rite Aid. I mean, it's empty, but it was a Rite Aid. And so it's a shell right now. And so looking for the URA to fund this project, and we're going to talk a little bit more in detail, to deliver it to this point. So next slide. So these are just some of the interior shots as a reminder of what it will look like. This is the schematic floor plan. The great thing for us, we already have a final and approved plans, which is great. That's already been paid for. The plans are done. Next slide. So at full capacity, we're looking at about 11,000 square feet of renovated space. It will have a dual kitchen incubator. And of course, you're like, why are we doing a kitchen incubator? Well, because we have lots of home cooks and home occupation businesses that make delicious pound cakes and lasagna and other stuff, but unlicensed and unregulated, and more so don't necessarily have the ability to scale their business because they're working out of a kitchen. And so what this will allow our community to be able to come in and do meal prep, food prep, et cetera, to allow for scalability in a safe and regulated and licensed way. It will also include 3 food vendor spaces. Yes, sir.
These people that, how do we know we've got all these people that are just dying to come up here and cook? Have they had meetings before? Have they indicated a interest?
That piece of the conversation predates me, so I don't know. I don't have a direct answer to that question of what the level of interest is, other than I know that there are a good number of businesses that we have, or quote unquote, businesses that are unlicensed and regulated and have expressed in a very organic way, I can't scale my business because, they're kind of in that weird in-between space of I have enough people to keep me busy, but I can't do more because of space limitations, but I don't have enough to move into a brick and mortar establishment. And so this is what the purpose of that incubator is.
One other question, I think I've asked this before. Do we plan on having somebody that owns site to run this?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk,
I'm
put a
sorry.
pin, no, you're fine. Put a pin there because I am gonna talk about that as well. This also will include a coffee vendor space. It does have the original pharmacy drive-through and making use of the drive-through as a coffee vendor. So they'll be very excited. So I don't have to stop at the Dunkin' Donuts in Lake City every morning coming into work. And then also a bar, so that there's a place that you can have a nice and comfortable libation after work, take a quick little meeting, have a quick little bite. So in concept, it's similar to Krog Street Market on a much, much smaller scale. So thinking of kind of food stalls, kind of 3 food stalls with seating in, kind of general communal, stepped away from the mic, general communal seating in the middle. There will also be some creative studio, really more meeting space, a little bit of flex co-work space that I can take a meeting for, 3, 4 people. I need to have a small meeting space, as well as a multi-purpose stage as well to allow for small entertainment as well. So music, which is beautiful, music with your libation. So here is what we do not know what our actual costs are going to be yet. These are projections. The great thing, as I said before, we already have full and approved construction plans. This project had previously gone out to bid. We had previously looked at proposals when this was still owned by the city. And looking at some of those hard costs, and this would be the building renovation, site development, utilities, the sprinkler system, the fire line, all of those things that we know that have to go inside, as well as some soft costs, and that would be your FF&E and your A&E costs. We're looking at about 3.5. Now, we won't know exactly what that number is going to be until we take it back out to bid. So next slide. So and before I get to what the URA is going to be on the hook for, so we fortunately do have, and we're able to get some Clayton County Community Development Block Grant money. And we learned last week, we still have about $100,000 available to us in those CDBG money that we need to use specifically for this project, which is a good thing. Next slide. So, a couple of things with the timeline. As I said, December 2024, we have approved construction documents. The exterior of the building was painted. It's been pressure washing of the parking lot and the driveway. The exterior signage was done. You have now secured ownership. It sits within your boundaries. What I am proposing is that we rebid, more or less using the bid that previously was done, which also saves us a critical amount of time as well, but putting it back out for the demolition and full construction bid for the interior, end of year, top of next year, with, depending on price and the approval of the URA to move forward, with hopefully renovations and build out starting in April, early spring of 2026. The other thing is looking at, well, who are we going to get to occupy the space? And so it is my recommendation that we look at a couple of different things. So we know that we need to recruit restaurants, and needing to recruit restaurants that have stickability, that have had a little bit of traction, a little bit of name recognition, et cetera, because we want to make sure we do this right. And so it is my recommendation that we put out an RFP for a broker agreement to go and shop and find us the restaurant concepts as well as the bar that we're looking for. In addition to that, so to your point, because this truly gave me dry heaves, of how are we going to operate and manage this? And again, it is my strong recommendation that we look to engage with a third-party restaurant management operation company to oversee the management of this. And this would include, managing the leases, anything that basically being the on-site person, because also with this, realizing that there is the flex space for, I want to have a meeting. There is a stage, I want to have a little mini concert. So in addition to kind of the overseeing and management, obviously the rents would come to the city. We would need to talk through that, but needing somebody that's more or less the on-site person that can manage all aspects of the operations. And unfortunately, your mighty team of 2, soon to be 3, cannot take that on right now. So that is, it is very much a unique skill. Yep, yep. And absolutely. And so there are a couple, I've started conversations with a couple of the larger brokers in and around Metro Atlanta, particularly those that really lean more heavily into the restaurant space, to get a feel for what could fit. Because again, understanding that, it's a traditional restaurant, but not really, so what does that look like? And even looking at some concepts that may be a more traditional sit-down brick and mortar restaurant, but that may be looking for more of a, it's not really a pop-up shop, but more of a walk-up type, smaller concept scale or a different concept scale for us, as well as starting the process of looking at operational management companies. We're going to use our shark of an attorney to write us a really good operational and manage agreement, as I know she will, to protect the interests of the city and the URA. But that is where we are right now. But with your blessing, would like to move forward with at least the initial release of the RFP for the construction and the build out. Mr. Elliott?
Classes for restaurant management.
Yes.
I wonder if Clayton State has anything like
I
that.
will definitely find out. I don't know offhand, but I can definitely find out, or even our other partners at, thank you, Atlanta Tech. I
All
got it.
right. Well, thank you. You all got the concept of this grapevine. We do have a nice video too that you all can look at.
And I'll resend it again if you would like to see the video, but we do have a beautiful little video that goes with the grapevine that kind of gives you the whole 360 tour of what it's going to look like at completion.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I do want to talk with you all, not in this open forum. So I don't want to take a vote right now on this, but I do want to talk with you all, like not in a group, because my attorney will get me straight, not to have a quorum. But I do want to talk to you all before we take a vote on this. So we're gonna
Okay.
hold off on that.
Yes, ma'am.
For talking about or authorizing it to issue the RFP.
The RFP.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, do we need, yes, we need to go, oh, wait, we got the economic development update.
I got stuff to tell y'all. All right, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. So this is the November Forest Park Main Street and Economic Development update. And first and foremost, please join me in congratulating Miss Sharice Clay, who is now officially, you got a standing ovation and everything, who is now officially the Main Street manager. She has worked extraordinarily hard and put up with all of my crazy questions and demands and pushing and pushing and pushing, but she is here, and I could not be more than thrilled to see her blossom and thrive into this role. So,
Mama in that
looking
picture.
looking like her mama. All right. Yeah, so a couple of quick things. I'm gonna run through this quickly because y'all know I always got a lot to say. So upcoming events, we're doing our Small Business Saturday. This will be the third year that we've done a true Small Business Saturday push, which is November 29th. Powered by American Express. So we will be releasing that week of Thanksgiving a promo video, just kind of a compilation of all of our small businesses that we've done ribbon cuttings with, we've engaged with over the year, just celebrating our small business community. We do have Small Business Saturday kits that are available for pickup. We have an email that actually will go out in the morning to any and everybody that we've talked to over the past year. The kits are free, and giving people an opportunity to really drive and push shop local, shop Forest Park. After a very successful scarecrow competition, I'm still contend economic development and fire got robbed. We're going forward in December with a wreath decorating contest. So it'll be out here on the City Hall lawn. Look for more details about that coming soon. The light pole banners, I promise y'all, they're coming. I promise they're coming. I think the check is almost about to be cut. So they are coming. By January, you will have, if I had to get up there and hang them myself, you're gonna have some new light pole banners.
I want to see that.
I know, right? Couple of things, future projects from Main Street, we're looking at leaning more into storytelling around our small business community and the Main Street district. We will be pushing forward with business window clings as a way to place make and identify people in a sense of belonging in place. And when I talk about the Business Association Awards, this will make more sense. We will be going back to council in December to revisit the Public Art Committee that we are trying to stand up, looking to really lean into public art and not just murals and art, but looking at murals, sculptures, some seating, et cetera, in particularly the downtown Main Street area around placemaking. Ms. Clay, as our new Main Street manager, will take on a full asset inventory of the entire Main Street district, which businesses we have, what do they do, how many people work there, which is something that we've never done in the city before, as well as which ones are vacant. Because that's a big push for us this year. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then finally, the real estate signs. We met with Director Matthews earlier this week. And I think we've worked out a plan because he told me that myself nor Miss Clay could go out there with a mallet and just start banging stuff in the ground, because that's what I was going to do. Our 2026 calendar is in production, looking at bringing back a lot of the same things that we did last year. The wine crawl will be back in April. The longest table, looking at partnering again with Food Truck Friday for that. Blues on Main, of course, in October, and the Scarecrow Showdown, et cetera, et cetera. Next slide. So the Forest Park Business Association, we are doing for the very first time ever, the Forest Park Business Awards, which will be on Friday, December the 12th at 9 a.m. It's going to be held in our gym, and it gives us an opportunity to recognize our business community. We will be doing milestone awards and milestone recognitions, honoring and recognizing everybody that opened a business in Forest Park this year, as well as you've celebrated 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, et cetera, and just, again, a different way to build community. Film Forest Park, unfortunately, the film industry is struggling a little bit, so we really haven't had a whole lot going on with filming. But a couple of business retention and engagement opportunities. So we do have a Smoothie King that is planning to come to the city of Forest Park. They were looking at Jonesboro Road. That site that they identified might not work, so we're working with them on trying to find another location, but they are very committed to opening here. We also have At Work, which is opening right down the street here on Forest Parkway. They are a staffing agency. Very excited about them. On next Friday, we will be doing ribbon cutting for Witty Seafood and Wings. And then the old florist on College Street is now the new home of Nalia House. So it is a Greek paraphernalia house called Nalia House, and we will be doing a ribbon cutting with them on December the 5th. And Sakari Spirits, some of you, I'm sure, if you've come to one of our events, you've probably had some Sakari, but they are looking for a site to open a bottling facility. So this won't be retail, but it will be more of a manufacturing facility for them to do bottling. So working with them on some site identification. Couple of other things, I'm gonna skip over some of this. 701 Forest Parkway, which is, I think, that way. It's an empty lot that we own. I believe the DDA actually owns it. We have had series of conversations with a medical practice that is interested in potentially purchasing the site to build a ground-up medical facility. We'll see how real they are. And then finally, Matthews Industrial Technologies, they're going to be over at 1500 South Point, which is Prologis. This is the company that I said is the warehouse automation company. At full capacity, I believe it will be somewhere 50 plus high skill engineering jobs with a minimum starting salary of 100 plus. So very excited with them. Workforce development continues to move forward. We will bring back our Forest Park Job Fair. that we did last year or this year in partnership with Councilwoman Wells. But in addition to that, we are looking to do a trade pathways job fair. So this came about really as a combination, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Miss Clay brought this to me, and I was like, I love it. This is fantastic. Let's make it happen. And so as we are kind of working through this, understanding that not everybody goes to college, not everybody needs to go to college, but what are the opportunities where you can still work with your hands and make a good living? So we've started the early conversations with Georgia Power, Technique, Georgia, the Chamber of Commerce. So we've already got some partners that are already at the table that are very interested in working with us on what that trade pathways job fair could look like, and most definitely want to engage our Clayton County Public Schools and particularly Forest Park High as kind of an entry point into this. We are working in partnership with the executive offices, planning and community development, a whole bunch of people, but pretty much everybody, on One Forest Park, exactly, around city blight and how we address that. At some point, once we get a little bit further down the road with a concept plan and what that means, we'll be coming back to the URA as you are looking at the expansion of your boundaries, specifically to address blight. So we do have right now, we're in the assessment and data collection of identifying all of the commercial shopping plazas in Forest Park. That have dilapidated signing and landscape issues and lighting issues and facade issues, et cetera, and how we clean it up, how we make it look better, and understanding that there is a gap between what code, does. As I tell people, it's like you can say, well, the code says I have to cut my grass. I cut my grass, but I didn't edge it and I didn't blow it, right? It doesn't look as good as my neighbors that edged and blowed their grass. So that we are working through, or at least my department is working through a concept for a grant program similar to what the county did last year. And they used, I believe, some ARPA funds. So we will be coming back to you with a more comprehensive plan. Next slide. Housing, as a reminder, we have been accepted, we being the city, has been accepted into GIC, which is the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing. We will be recognized next week in Savannah. Myself and Savannah Irons Kamasa, who is our principal planner, will be attending.
Going.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I was like, are
Just
you?
kidding.
Okay.
No.
So we will be there. So we have also are part of the Clayton County Housing Collective, and kind of that convening, and part of that is a whole housing assessment and strategy. The county received, I believe, $25,000 from the ARC to go towards, a collective countywide how we address housing and strategy. So we are happy to be part of that. As I mentioned before, we are in the final stages, hopefully, of interviewing for a staff assistant, a replacement of Ms. Clay's former position, and will be your new secretary on your board. We received 110 applications, and I read every single one. So we did 6 phone screens. We have 1 more tomorrow, hoping to cut that down to 3 that we will bring back for in-person interviews, and pushing hard to have that new person identified by the end of the year, so that we can truly go back to, we need a little bit of elbow room. New business welcome packets, working through that on your table. There are folders in front of you. Those are the latest and greatest of the Office of Economic Development, our standard development packet that we use that has been fully redone. A couple of other updated, let's see. Oh yeah, I did. I thought I told you all that. So I did join the Aerotropolis Atlanta board and am your official representative. Next slide. No. I think I repeated something. Oh, so a couple of things that I want to talk about. So Carter on Scott, that's 0 Scott Road. Those are the 17 single-family homes. Their LDP has been issued. I unfortunately don't have a more update other than that. I don't believe that they've started to turn dirt yet. The MARTA O&M facility, the demolition has started. If you drive past it, they pretty much have cleared out that site. And I do know in January, I believe they will be releasing RFPs for the construction phase of the job. We have had continued conversation with them of making sure that Forest Park stays at the front of the list of pushing our local community to come in as subs on the job. Cherry Street, the 6 single-family homes. If y'all haven't driven past, please go drive past Cherry Street. These houses are adorable. I mean, and are just, yeah, we need more of that. Just very excited about that development. Keep going. Right off the park here. Kind of almost catty corner from where the pool is. And we talked a little bit already about the city center project. Star Park renovations are still in various stages of planning. We hosted a tour with Slavin, who is the executive search firm that is leading the city manager recruitment efforts. Couple of other just administrative things that we are working through. PCD is working through impact fees assessment. So hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll be able to provide more concrete detail about what impact fees look like for the city, how we pass those on to our developers. Some of the other things that we're looking at are just our incentives as a whole, and trying to become more creative with the type of incentives that the city offers to make ourselves more attractive and competitive to development. Keep going. I think we have talked through all of your stuff. I do want to talk real quick about digital realty. So we took myself and four members of the DDA went to Northern Virginia for a day trip back in October to do a site tour of the facility. It was absolutely just, I think everybody just, knocked our socks off. It was absolutely amazing. I think it really helped people in their understanding of data centers. And they did an exceptional job of every question or concern or fear or hesitation that we had. Not only did they just have an answer for it, but we could see it in real time. So it's like you hear nothing. The floors are so clean. The hospital floors weren't that clean. It was absolutely amazing. So the DDA is on their agenda for next week to consider the tax abatement. We did go to the Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday. They presented to the BOC for their consideration of a tax abatement, and then we will go with them again sometime in the next month or so to the school board for a consideration of a tax abatement as well. Keep going. And then for the Development Authority, a couple of quick things. 794 Main Street, we sold that property in May. It has been sold to GUCA, which is the Georgia Utility Contractors Association, and it is for an expansion of their headquarters and their training facility. They are going forward with their plans to present to the Planning Commission and the UDRB sometime in the coming month. And then I wanted to give a quick update on 760, 770 Main Street, which is also known as Florence on Main. This is or also known as the Prestwick development. This is the mixed-use 60-unit LMI apartment complex. We sold it also in May of 2025. They unfortunately did not receive their DCA tax credits. And right now we are in renegotiating with the developer for how they can continue to move forward with the project without having received their tax credits. Keep going. And that's it. And it was a lot. So you can read all of the stuff I skipped over. Are there any questions? Oh, I do have 2 quick things I wanted to share with you. So the POA, a couple of things from the Property Owners Association meeting from November, actually from last week. The Scannell building, Scannell bought the 22 acres from Blue Star. We held a groundbreaking a couple of weeks ago. That seems to be going well. And they also will be coming to the DDA for consideration for a tax abatement, as well as Gillum 600 and 650.
What type of company is it?
It's a spec building, so it's a warehouse.
Warehouse, okay.
Yeah, everything out there is an industrial warehouse. We don't know who the end user will be at this time, but it's a spec building, and they're asking for the tax abatement because obviously it allows them to be more competitive in who they are able to attract to the building.
Yeah, being in entertainment is really sad. I didn't know it was to that level. You know how things are right now.
And I think that was it about the POA. Oh, last thing is the replatting, oh Lord, of Gillum. So the county has issues with their GIS system, and they have had issues with the GIS system for quite some time. So we have engaged in conversation with Valentino, spoke with him this morning. Fortunately, Valentino did a wonderful and masterful replat of all of Gillum, what, about a year ago? 2 years ago? Thereabouts. So the great thing is that 90% of what they need to do for us is done. The piece that they need to do, there are a couple of properties, obviously, that have transferred, the Scannell building, the Digital Realty, the TPA group, that's pretty easy for them to update to the new plat. The issue with the county is that they are now asking for us to provide parcel ID numbers for everything. So Francis Jackson and I, who is out at Robinson Weeks, have been working together because she is having the exact same issue that we're having. So we've got the plat more or less done. She's got most of the parcel IDs done, so we're basically combining efforts to clean this up so we can deliver to the county, hoping that this will get the county further down the road to fix the issues. What we know is that there are, like right now, if you look up the GIS, there are properties that we bought or sold 4 years ago that still have somebody else's name on it. So it's an issue. We know it's an issue, but Valentino is kind of came up with a high level concept of how to address the issues. As soon as I have a full proposal from him, I will bring it back to you so we can get our piece of this hopefully done and taken care of. I know the issue came up a couple of years ago, about 3-4 years ago, and we didn't do it then. We did some of it, but not all of it. So hence why some of it's coming back. But really and truly, the bigger issue is the county. All right, now I'm done talking. I know that was a lot.
No, that was good.
Any questions for me?
Any questions, you all?
Thank you.
Yes,
I
as
appreciate that.
always. So I do want to go into executive session, and I don't think we have to leave the room. We just have to turn the mics off. So is there a motion to go into executive session to discuss, I'm gonna just say all three of them, real estate, what else? Personnel and legal. Okay, that was Mr. Wilson. Second by Dr. Patrick. All in favor?